All right, Mario, you can kick us off.
Okay. All right. Good evening, Toastmasters. Thank you for joining us for another great meeting. I am your Sergeant at Arms tonight. I welcome you to this meeting, and I will be introducing a few of the meeting guidelines and beginning the meeting. Oops. Okay, all speakers and functionaries, please rename by clicking your name and include your role, your first and last name. Mute your audio during the speeches. Use your reaction buttons for virtual reactions. Send private messages to the speakers for feedback if you wish. You may unmute during the introduction, closing remarks, awards presentation. Former members and Toastmasters from other clubs may take on functionary roles, may be voted for the best table topics or best evaluator. Other guests can participate in the table topics, but they cannot be voted for best table topics. All functionary roles and speaking roles will be granted co-host privileges to share the screen if needed. I will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any and all images taken during this meeting will be used expressly for club social media purposes only. Okay, I will now introduce our president of the club, Mr. Lucas Calafell.
Thank you, Mario, and welcome, fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guest, Andres, for the Coral Gables Toastmasters meeting on August 11th. We have an exciting meeting for everyone tonight. And in a Toastmasters meeting, there's always one person that will basically manage the meeting, ensuring that it goes as smoothly as possible, that we accomplish everything that a Toastmasters meeting should. And the person that's going to lead us, that steer the ship right, is going to be our Toastmaster of the day, Wei-Wen Wang.
Thank you, Lucas. Would you like to introduce the guest, or should I jump right
Yes,
in?
I would be remiss if I didn't. Andres, if you can unmute yourself and just give a brief introduction of maybe how you found us, what you're looking to get out of tonight's meeting.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andres Concha. Thank you for the warm welcome. I found you guys actually, I was referred to you by someone. I have a love for public speaking, and someone who heard that referred me to you guys. So I decided to check you out. I'm in your area. And I just want to see what it's all about. I want to see, I can tell, I see a confidence in you guys that you look, you can handle it. And I'd like to grow that in myself and meet some incredible people. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Andres, for joining us. Hope you enjoy the meeting for as much as you can attend. As I said, even if you have to leave a little bit early, there is no worries. You're always welcome to join us again as a guest. We meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Wei-Wen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lucas. Good evening, everyone. The theme of today's meeting is the Olympics, which ended last Sunday. Did everyone follow at least some of the games? If you can raise your hand. Yes, I'm sure. I'm not even a sports fan, but I followed a lot of games actually, and the opening and closing ceremony. As we all know, this event was postponed by 1 year as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The first such instance in the history of the Olympic Games. Previous games had been canceled but not rescheduled. Let me see if I can play these. Okay. And these pictures pretty much summarize the role of Japan in hosting the Olympics this year. During the opening ceremony, we were blown away by the 1,800 drones that formed the shape of the globe. But this Tonga flag bearer definitely stole the show. Some new sports were added to the Tokyo Olympics, including karate, sport climbing, baseball, softball, surfing, and skateboarding. My husband's favorite game is women's beach volleyball. And my favorite game is men's diving. That's because we are so into the games themselves, not because of other obvious reason. Joking aside, we also saw a diversity of the athletes' ages ranging from 12 to 66. The youngest Olympian is Hans Zaza, 12, a table tennis player from Syria. And the eldest is Mary Hanna, an Australian equestrian who is 66 years old. When the United States and China were competing head-on for the most medals and gold medals, let's not forget other small countries, such as this one, San Marino, which has a population of only 34,000. And they have a total of 5 athletes, and 3 of them actually won medals, 1 silver and 2 bronze. That's a pretty high success rate. I was skeptical about holding the Olympics during the pandemic before, and it was sad to see all the empty seats in the arena. However, in the end, I'm glad it was not canceled, because these events showcase the strength, resilience, and the unity of the human race, which is exactly what we need to defeat the ongoing Delta variant surge. So now let's going back to our meeting. Let me stop sharing. Just like the Olympics, we also have competitions in every Toastmaster meeting. They are prepared speeches, table topics, and evaluations. And the judges are every one of you. We also have functionary roles to facilitate the meeting and to keep some additional scores, such as time, crunch words, and grammar use. So now let's introduce our functionaries. First, our timer of the evening, Klaus. Can you please introduce your role?
Greetings, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote the specific times remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, the yellow card. At 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. Those giving speeches should limit the remarks to their specific speech times. Icebreaker speeches should be 4 to 6 minutes in length. At 4 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 5 minutes, the yellow card. At 6 minutes, the red card. Most other general speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, the yellow card. At 7, the red card. The individual evaluations should be between 2 and 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. At 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Klaus. Next, we have our R counter, Brian.
Hey, hello, Madam Toastmaster. If you can give me 1 second, maybe you can move to the next functionary if possible. My dogs are going crazy. I don't want to interrupt the meeting, so let me just handle that. I'll be right back. Sorry about that.
No worries. I feel your pain as a pet owner as well. Okay, next, our vote counter, Felix. Can you please introduce your role?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow members and most welcome guests. My role as a vote counter is to count the votes for each speaker in each of the following sessions: table topics, prepared speech, and evaluation. Please send me a private chat to vote for the best speaker in each session. Please feel free to give your comment to each speaker via private or public chat as well. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Felix. Rachel, are you ready? Can you please introduce your role, grammarian?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any misuses of the English language, as well as any said words, quotes, saying, or thoughts. As a grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day is ameliorate. Ameliorate. I will send the words through the Zoom chat. Ameliorate, according to Merriam-Webster.
Oh, we lost our
Yeah,
grammarian.
we lost her.
Yeah, she did tell me that she has internet issues and she was trying to connect and we can tell that there is some technical difficulty. We'll see if she can join. Otherwise, Lucas, can you jump in? You have 1 minute to think of, I think, well, we already have a word. So you can just maybe put in the chat. I think it's ameliorate, right? Oh, Rachel came back. So Lucas, you can be a backup grammarian in case Rachel has more connection issues.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the definition
Okay, great.
in the
Brian.
chat and then
Is the dog under control?
We got him under control. We got him. We muzzled him real quick. Thank you. Interesting start to the meeting. We got dogs barking. We got connection issues, but that's how these Zoom meetings go. We push forward. Madam Toastmaster, thank you so much for the introduction. I am the counter of tonight's meeting. I will be looking for crutch words or filler words used by any of the speakers tonight, and I will be marking them down and taking a note of that. Words such as I, like, some, so, any repeating words, I'll take note of those. And at the end, I'll give my counter report when called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Brian. So today we have a relatively small meeting and we only have one guest, one speaker for the prepared speech. That's because Felicity is swamped at work. For those who don't know, she's actually a nurse manager at Nicholas Children's Hospital. And as you can imagine, because of the surge of Delta variant, as a first line healthcare worker, she is very busy right now. So, but we can still have a great meeting, a more intimate, but great meeting. So without further ado, let's go to our first and only speaker of the evening, Mario Letano. His speech title is Personal and Expert Power. Mario, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmasters. In my previous speech, I introduced this concept of power bases and influence tactics as a leadership model that I discovered in this book that I read a few months ago called The Chief Petty Officer's Guide. And this is a leadership model that I am learning and I am practicing, and I hope to integrate in my future career as a leader and manager in the Navy or in my professional life. And so if I were to ask you to describe leadership in one word, what would you say? Responses might include things, words such as vision, inspiration, confidence. Although these are all components of leadership, they fail to recognize that at its core, leadership is simply influence, the ability to get others to think or do what you or they need or want to do to meet organizational objectives. Out of this leadership model, there are 8 power bases, and the 2 that we focus most as professionals is expert and personal power. These 2 power bases, more so than any other, demonstrates the character and the competence of the individual and garner trust. And in turn, this trust creates a positive environment which enhances the ability to influence others in a meaningful way. Personal power is one of the 2 most important power bases in the model. And to put personal power into context, I think it is useful to think about those leaders in your life and in your career that you've had that have left the greatest positive or negative impact on you, and why. So typical responses that would describe a person with a high level of expert power is that they had integrity, that they were reliable, that they did what they said they were gonna do. They genuinely cared about my personal progress. They were honest and forthright. On the other hand, responses that would describe a person with a low level of personal power are things like they were never around, that they were a walking double standard, that they were not approachable, not trustworthy. A way that you can gauge what your personal power is by getting candid feedback from others, asking your closest trusted colleagues, your closest friends, your inner circle, your most trusted agents that you know are going to give it to you straight and will give you candid feedback about your performance and your character. Personal power, I think there's 5 attributes that make somebody that has a high level of personal power, which is attitude, belief, confidence, character, and discipline, and excellence as well. I think I said 6 of them. From my perspective, there really is no dictionary definition for personal power. I think that personal power is more of a state of mind, more so than an attempt to maneuver or control other people. It is, some would say, it is a measure of charisma, a measure of self-discipline that others would seek to emulate and draw from. It is the way that you influence others in such a way that perhaps even to inspire them in such a way without projecting your energy directly towards them. This in itself is far more influential and more inspirational than any position or title or posture that a leader may stand with. The way that you maintain and develop your personal power comes down to a personal self-assessment. You need to regularly ask yourself, am I adhering to my value and beliefs? Am I treating others with fairness and equity? And in the authority as a leader that I'm giving, no matter what rank or title that I have, that I'm doing this and that I'm encouraging others to do the same. Now, expert power is actually quite simple to define. It is the breadth of experience that one has in their particular area of responsibility. So for example, in our club, Felicity is a nurse manager, right? And she has a high level of knowledge in healthcare and saving people's lives. And she has a high level of proficiency working in a hospital setting and managing complex medical cases. And so if I'm a newbie nurse and I'm learning, I'm going to listen and I'm going to trust Felicity's expert power. This is one example. People that have a high level of expert power generally have these 3 attributes: that they have a lifestyle of learning, that they have a lifestyle of fitness or wellness, and they treat others with dignity and respect. And so one way that you develop this expert power, for example, is through this lifestyle of learning, always seeking to do things more efficiently, more effectively, without taking shortcuts. And this reflects on your character because your followers are watching what you're doing as a leader. And so if you have a high level of integrity with this expertise, then that's really gonna shine. This expert power is developed through your life. You know, it begins when you're learning to walk, you're developing life skills, you're going through the school system, you're developing your knowledge, and then you narrow that expert power down to your skills, your profession, your sector. Not all this some of this expert power is also developed through your interpersonal relationships, dealing with difficult individuals, having complex relationships, even dealing with heartbreak. Not all expert power is derived from academia. Sometimes you have to simmer in the life pot of experience, so to speak. This is how you grow and become a better decision maker. And so because, you know, as a follower, because I know that you've been through a life experience that is similar to what I'm going through, then I'm more likely to reach out to you for help. And so when you have this expert power professionally, and then you're weaving in this personal life experiences, then the likelihood that somebody's going to ask those questions and that you are going to be approachable is really how you leverage these two power bases and become a highly influential leader. And so this is a little more about personal power and expert power. In my next speeches, I'm going to talk about some of the other power bases in the model. There's 8 power bases total and 13 influence tactics. And I hope to talk about them throughout, you know, my career here in the Toastmasters. Thank you so much. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mario. I always learn some leadership skills from every one of your speech. Thank you very much. Klaus, can we get a timer's report?
Yes, he got 7 minutes, 27 seconds, and I'm so sorry that I didn't put the colors. Something's going on with my Zoom. It just didn't work.
I see. Okay, no worries. Since you are the only speaker of the evening, Mario, you are definitely the winner. So, all good. All right, we are gonna enter the second segment of our meeting, which is the table topic section. This section always gives me butterflies in the stomach. I don't know about you guys. And the table topics master of the evening, every time she called my name, I think I skip a heartbeat. Without further ado, let's introduce Jane Ruiz.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. So Table Topics helps members to develop, even ameliorate, the skills of impromptu on-the-spot speaking. It helps to train members to quickly organize and express their thoughts. You can think of it as a mini speech with an opening, a body, and a conclusion. And this also provides an opportunity for any member who is not on duty to speak. Guests can also participate if they wish. So each speaker is required to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Participants are disqualified at 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. As a reminder, today's word is ameliorate, which is to make something bad better. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint so you guys can have the visuals. And let me share, let me get control. Let me know if you guys see the screen. A thumbs up emoji or something.
We see it.
Great, thank you. So the theme for tonight is the Tokyo Summer Olympics of this year, and thus table topics are themed as such. For the first question, I'm going to, it's actually a pretty easy one. So I'm going to call someone at random. Lucas, what is your favorite Olympic event and why?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I frankly don't really pay attention to the Olympics, but I did happen to catch water polo. It was Italy versus Montenegro. It was, I think, over this past weekend, and it was random. I had no intention of watching the Olympics. It just happened to be what was on TV at the friend's house that I was at, and water polo was on, and I thought, that's pretty fun. It's basically like basketball but in the water. That's how I would kind of describe it. You're constantly swimming. I don't think somebody said that your feet can't touch the floor of the pool or something like that. So you're constantly swimming. You're trying to get the ball. You're trying to maneuver around other people, and then you try to throw the ball as hard as you can. Hopefully that you're aiming in the right direction and get it in the net. So it was actually pretty exciting. I did happen to see some other events, and I did not think they were particularly exciting. There were some good races that I saw. I did happen to see some other events, but I think the one that really, really intrigued me was water polo. Back to you, Madam Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Lucas. I also wasn't able to capture the other ones. I usually do like to watch them, but everything's streaming nowadays. I don't have CBS or whatever, so the only one I was able to luckily get was men's diving. It was serendipitous. So for the remaining questions, since they're going to be a little bit more challenging than that one, I'm going to allow people to raise their hand and pick if they want to answer that one. So the next question is, if you could create a new Olympic event, what would it be? Who would like to answer? I'm going to pick someone at random if you don't. Klaus.
Felix had his hand up.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Lucky for you, Klaus. Go ahead, Felix.
Klaus, I'd be more than glad to allow you to go, but that's okay. I did raise my hand. If there would be a new Olympic event created based on the Olympics that I watched this time, I think it would be watching commercials and how long you can stare at a screen and watch commercials before you actually get to watch an Olympic event. Nothing for me was worse than trying to sit through all these competitions, and right after one, there were actually more commercials than the actual race or swimming event or whatever you had short of a basketball game or a soccer game. But for the most part, I was overwhelmed by the commercials. Maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe the streaming and DVR ameliorate the fact that so many commercials you have to put up with while watching an Olympic event. But again, if it was up to me, I think the new Olympic event would be how long you can watch commercials. Thank you.
That was such an awesome answer. Yeah, that probably could be it. That's why you got to pay for the premium service with no commercials. All right, guys, for the next question. Which Olympic sport would be most useful outside of the Olympics? For example, running if you're a valet attendant. Any takers? All right, for this one, I'm going to pick. Oh, Andres. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll give it a shot. Hi, everyone. I believe that the most useful sport outside of the Olympics would be boxing. And here are my reasons why. I don't know where you guys are from, but I just flew in here from LA 2 weeks ago, okay? The shape that Los Angeles is in, you have to watch your back at every single street corner. I mean, I've been chased, I've been attacked, like they've attacked my apartment, they've attacked my mom's truck. And I think that it really would teach people to kind of carry themselves with a little bit more assertiveness and confidence that would then prevent incidents occurring that are occurring in Los Angeles. I actually have plenty of family friends who've had all of their stuff stolen in the recent months due to the huge rise in the homeless in these certain areas. And not that I'm saying that there's anything against homeless, I'm just saying that there is a larger need for self-defense. And I think that we should all learn to defend ourselves as opposed to, using an alternative such as a lethal weapon. I think that being able to carry ourselves with confidence and our own strength and defense, like I just previously said, would be a useful tactic and would kind of also act as an inhibitor for people to come and attack others because they know that, you know, people also know martial arts. Anyway, that was a little bit of a rant. So that is why I believe boxing would be the most useful.
Thank you, Andres, for sharing your most useful Olympic sport. Definitely boxing, knowing how to fight, would make people think twice when they want to mess with you. For the next question, in which theoretical Olympic sport would you win gold at? And for this, I'm going to pick James. I see you.
So this is an interesting question. I'd like to thank you for choosing me for it. I'm really trying to think here about which theoretical Olympic sport I'd win gold at. Theoretical to me means a sport that is theoretical, it's not real. So I guess the theoretical sport that I would win gold at is Olympic diving into Jello. That is the theoretical sport that I would win gold at, because I feel as though you can reap the benefits of both hunger and athleticism. And that's something that really appeals to me. I feel like it would really ameliorate my life if I were able to engage in such a sport. Also, I think it would be so entertaining. You know, you'd never know what color the pool would be one day. It might be red, it might be green, it might be blue. You've got so many choices and so many possibilities. You may even have multiple colors at once. So that is the theoretical Olympic sport that I believe I would win gold at. I'd be so passionate to participate. Thank you.
Awesome, I love it. It could be, yeah, rainbow Jello. That would be cool. For me, I would love Nutella, but I might suffocate. It wouldn't be a horrible death, though. That sounds pretty cool. So for the next question, pretty easy one. Just your opinion. Which is the best, Summer or Winter Olympics? And for this one, any takers? Any volunteer? Oh, not bad. I'm gonna skip that one because everybody saw it. Any takers for this one? Oh, no. All right. For this one, I'm gonna pick Patrick.
Thank you, Jane. And this is an easy question. The Summer Olympics are clearly the superior Olympics. You have such amazing track and field events, you know, distance events like the marathon, the 100-meter dash, the 400 hurdles. I was just astonished at the speed and the grace of the runners. You have, you know, team sports, you have soccer, golf, Lucas's favorite, water polo. And I just think you truly get a perspective of what human beings, athletes are capable of doing in the athletic arena. The Winter Olympics are cold and dreary. You have some good events like skiing, but bobsledding and just seems like everyone is freezing cold. You're in ice, and there's less athleticism showed than the Summer Olympics. You know, again, to Wei Wen's point about the gracefulness of the athletes, the swimmers, everyone's in helmets and parkas, and you know, you don't really see the athleticism of these Olympians. So in my mind, the Summer Olympics are the superior Olympics. Thank you.
That's a good point. It is a little bit more dreary, I imagine. But not Jamaican bobsledding. I'm thinking of the movie. Bobsledding in general is just so high speed. I feel like what happens if they just crash at any moment? It's just very adrenaline surging to think about that, to see it. All right, for my next question, not this one because you guys saw it. Very open-ended. What makes a good teammate? And for this one, I'm gonna get Klaus.
Okay.
What makes a good teammate?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. For me, okay, sorry. Yes, for me, a good teammate is someone who listens, someone who can, okay, so someone who can relate to you and understand you, how you behave, someone who is willing to commit and take things seriously just as much as you do. So for me, there needs to be compatibility between two people. So a good teammate, someone who is responsible, someone who is, other than the skill of the person, because anybody can train each skill, it's also about emotional intelligence. So I think a good teammate should have really high emotional intelligence to be able to understand the partner and to, just to work for your task. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Back to you.
That was a really good answer for a very general question. It seems deceptively easy, but compatibility, emotional intelligence, those are answers that you wouldn't think of off the cuff when you're thinking of Olympics and a good teammate. Very, very true. Do we have time for one more, Madam Toastmaster? I'm gonna take the silence as a yes.
Yes.
All right, final question. If public speaking was an Olympic category, how would it be structured and how would one win? Any takers for this one? All right, for this, I'm going to choose Brian.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Very interesting question. Probably not one that you would think too far out of the box, because public speaking does have contests in Toastmasters. We do have humorous speech contests, international speech contests. Little plug here. We have a contest, humorous speech and evaluation contest coming up next month. So how would it be structured? I would assume pretty similar to how it already is structured within our contest. We'd have contestants from all over the world, from representing their country, coming together and having a prepared speech. Let's say, for example, a humorous speech. They'd come in and have a humorous speech prepared. No requirements to come in and speak. There's no need to be a member of anything or any kind of prerequisite to have given speeches in the past. Just come in and tell the funniest story you know. And you would have judges, unbiased judges. Some would say in past contests, there's been some bias in Toastmasters. I'm not one of those people, but in the Olympics, when it comes down to a medal, unbiased, absolutely 100%, no issues when that comes around. And once everything's all said and done, obviously, I think once we have the gold medal, the silver medal, the bronze medal, we'd have our ceremony. We'd get up and have the national anthems for the winning countries. And I think once that's done, maybe we should have an extra, just a little, like kind of a little table topics round to compete within that medal ceremony. After the anthems have gone off, go off and have a head-to-head combat of words to once and for all decide who the best speaker is. Obviously, the person with the gold medal won the speech, but now I want to see it ad-libbing. Let's mix it up. Let's not mess around. This is not structured anymore. Go at it in the ring, battle head-to-head with a little ad-lib competition on the podium. That's how I'd like to see it, and that's how one would truly win in my eyes. Not really judged, but kind of let the people judge once they go at it in a head-to-head battle. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
All right, fair enough, Brian. Yeah, we have the contest, which is pretty much structured like this question. However, we don't have costumes in our contest, and maybe we should. That's all I'm saying. All right, so guys, please cast your votes for best table topics speaker, send it to the vote counter, and, oh, my bad. What are the times? Can I have a time report?
Yes. The time report from each speaker. Are you asking for the times report of each speaker or?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, so Lucas, 1:15, Felix, 55 seconds, Andres, 1 minute 15 seconds, James, 1 minute 10 seconds, Patrick, 1 minute 28 seconds, myself, 1 minute 18 seconds, and Brian, 2 minutes 23 seconds.
Awesome. So it sounds like everybody qualified.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, guys, like I said before, cast your votes, send it to the vote counter. And I'm going to turn it back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. I really enjoyed this table topics section. I don't know which one is more creative, the questions or the answers. I never thought you can have a new sport called Jello diving. That sounds amazing. And I'm glad I was not called on. So thank you, Jane. Now let's enter the last segment of the meeting, which is evaluation. We have our general evaluator, Patrick, to start the session. Patrick.
Greetings, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. As the general evaluator, I will be evaluating the entire meeting at the conclusion, but my first role is to introduce the speech evaluator. Evaluating a speech requires careful listening and having the ability to offer constructive criticism about what a speaker says well, and pointing to some areas where they could speak better or more effectively. So with that said, please welcome Lucas Calafell, who will be evaluating Mario Litano's speech.
Thank you, Mr. Joe Evaluator. I have the pleasure of evaluating Mario's speech. I did happen to give him evaluation for the last time that he gave this speech on power bases and influence tactics. And the purpose really of Mario's project here is to implement feedback and give a speech that he gave previously a second time, and while implementing any of the feedback that was given from that person's original evaluator. So I'm going to refer back to some of the comments that I made or some of the feedback that I gave Mario in my written evaluation for his speech last time that he gave it. So Mario, some of the great things that you did, of course, the enthusiasm. I think we can feel that you are invested and you find value in the book that you read. Not only do you mention it, but we could hear it in your tone of voice. Some other things that I noticed that you did very well in this speech that you did well in last speech is both your camera positioning and your lighting. The lighting is great, even though there's a shadow on one part of your video frame, it doesn't really impact the lighting, the overall lighting. So it's spot on. I like your camera positioning because you're not too close, but you're far enough away that we actually saw your hand gestures. Whereas where I'm positioned right now, it'd be hard to kind of see them, but you were positioned precisely in a good spot where we could see your hand gestures as you were delivering your speech. Some areas of feedback that I would like to, and there's one more thing that I noticed that you did differently this time around is that you gave a concrete example of how a certain leadership style is used in context, and you used Felicity as an example of how expert power is used to influence others, and why a brand new nurse would gravitate to Felicity because of that power. What I was hoping to get a little bit more of in your speech is more of the examples, the concrete examples, to see not only what the leadership styles are and the different power bases, but also just kind of apply them to like a real world example whether it's personal or whether it's just something that a story, an anecdote that you might have heard. The other thing is that I think the book that you read has pretty complex information. So I believe some visuals might help break down the information for us. As you mentioned, there are 8 power bases, if I'm not mistaken. You did touch on 2 important ones, but I would have liked to see it structured a little bit more where if you chose just to mention to show a visual of the first one that you're going to talk about it, give some examples, then move on to the next one. I kind of felt like there was a little bit of back and forth and I got lost somewhere down the line there. But in any case, the message did come through and you did clearly communicate what value can be found in not just in the book, but also in the power bases and influence tactics that you mentioned in the speech. Thank you, Mario, for your speech. I look forward to the next one.
Lucas, fantastic evaluation. And we will not be conducting a vote because Lucas, you are the best speech evaluator. My other role as general evaluator, which I neglected to mention, is that I will now call on our functionaries to report in on their respective tasks. And we will start with our timer, Klaus. Did Lucas have a qualifying speech?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He had 3 minutes.
Terrific. Next up, we will go with our counter, Brian DeSimone. Brian.
Thank you, Patrick, Mr. General Evaluator. Just run through my report quickly here. Lucas, excellent job as always. Very minimal. I didn't count anything. Wei Wen, same, excellent job starting off the meeting. Mario, I had 1 2 ums, 1 so. You repeated and 1 time, and you had a you know and 2 and so's. Felix, solid job. Good job. Klaus, 1 so, 2 repeats, and 1 and so. Patrick, good job. Jane, 1 Rachel, didn't clock you with anything. Myself, 4 ahs, 4 ums. Andres, I had 1 and 1 so. And James, 4 ahs and 2 ums. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Brian. Next up, we have our grammarian, Rachel. Rachel, please, let's hear the grammarian's report.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'm glad to see the word of the day, ameliorate, was able to be used multiple times by multiple people. It was used by Jane, ameliorate the skill of impromptu speaking. It was used by Phillips, DVR ameliorates so much commercial from the event. As well as James, diving in Jello will ameliorate my life. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Rachel. I believe that we have called on all of our functionaries. And so now it is time for my general evaluation. I will start by saying I'm always thankful to attend these meetings and to see members and smiling faces and the goodwill and camaraderie that brings us together. I do think this second wave of the Delta virus is just, it's exhausting. And we've been doing these Zooms for 2 years. There was a brief window, I think, where people were optimistic. I mean, people are getting out and around, but it's scary and it's not leaving anytime soon. So it really is testing the club's resilience, and grateful for everyone's participation. Let me start with our Toastmaster, Wei Wen Wang. Wei Wen, always a pleasure to hear you speak and to serve as Toastmaster. You brought your trademark humor, some real empathy and understanding, and also a real seriousness where you took the Olympics and really provided a good topic for the meeting. With table topics, again, Jane, outstanding job, thought-provoking, difficult questions. I liked the way that you serve them up and ask people to volunteer, and usually you then pick someone if you didn't have a volunteer. I would also note with our two guests, James and did we lose our other guest?
He had to leave early.
Andres, two just fantastic answers by guests. James, good job. Andres, excellent. And then Mario, I really loved your speech. I think, you know, I'm taking it all in, and, you know, being a good leader involves so many issues. And, you know, I think this book that you're reading takes on all different perspectives, but it serves to illuminate, you know, our own roles as leaders in the workplace and in the organizations that we work. So I enjoyed that. Lucas, great evaluation. You are always engaged and offer some real perspective. So I think it was an excellent meeting. You know, we started a little bit late, but you know, that, and we did have the barking dogs, the difficult audio from Rachel, which she immediately fixed. So overall, a great meeting, and I'm glad to have participated. I will now hand off to Brian or to our president. Who do we hand off to?
Back to Wei Wen to
Oh, back to Wei
close
Wen.
out.
Sorry, I've only been a Toastmaster 5 years. I keep forgetting what we're supposed to do. Wei Wen.
It's all good. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, I think we had, as promised, an intimate but great meeting. Another thing I want to mention about the Olympics is that I think we can all agree that the world needs a break, just a 2-week summer break from all the craziness in the world. We need something to ameliorate our mood and then continue fighting with the Delta variants. And I feel the same about the Toastmaster meetings as well. I completely agree with Patrick. I feel like every time when I'm about to go to the meetings, it's like going to a gym. I always ask myself, should I do it? Is it worth it? And I'm always happy after the meeting. So I hope all the members and the guests feel the same. Now, going back to you, Brian, to call for the next meeting.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Our next meeting, August 25th. Do we have any takers for Toastmaster of the evening? Must have to give 3 speeches to be a Toastmaster or a table topics master or an evaluator. Okay.
I'll serve as Toastmaster. Brian?
Patrick, stepping up as always. Looking forward to it. Any speakers up for the evening?
I'll do a speech.
Rachel. Any others? Okay. Anyone for table topics?
I'll do table topics.
Lucas. Any evaluators?
I can do general.
Excellent. Jane, general evaluator. I may step in as an evaluator. I'll mark myself down there. Any functionaries, counter, grammarian, timer? Vote counter? Felix, I see your hand going up.
I'll counter.
Counter, Felix. Okay.
I could be a functionary.
Anyone in particular you want to sign up for, Mario? Grammarian, timer, vote counter?
I can be vote counter. I haven't done that before.
Okay. All right. It's a pretty good list there. We're filling up nicely. And as the weeks go on, we'll go ahead and fill the gaps. But that is all for me. Remember, next meeting, August 25th. I believe I now will hand it to our president to close out the meeting. Lucas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. We do have, and Brian, if you want to speak a little bit more to it, just briefly, about our humorous and evaluation speech contest. This is an opportunity. If you feel like you are an expert speech evaluator, you want to test your skill, not just at the club level, but at the area and district level. It all starts at the club level. So the district winners, they all started at the club level. They won at the club level, they advanced to the area, and then eventually the division, and then the district. So if you feel like you want to participate in that, please message Brian. And if you want to see how well you can craft a humorous speech, get some laughs from the crowd, that is also happening later next month. So we certainly want to have that. We want to have a showing from our club. So once again, if you're interested, feel free to message Brian. He will give you the details. Any doubts, concerns, questions you have, Brian can certainly answer them for you. Before I move on, we have a special functionary that is going to announce the winner for table topics. We had defaults for best speaker and best evaluator, but the surprise comes with table topics. Felix, please unmute and let us know who the winner was.
Thank you, Mr. President. For a minute there, I thought being the vote counter and having the power of the pen would come to my advantage. But at the last minute, under the wire, we got another vote, and I am pleased to announce that Patrick is the winner of tonight's table topics.
Thank you, Felix, and congrats, Patrick, for winning best table topics. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on a Wednesday evening to better ourselves and our public speaking. We do have speaking roles open for the next meeting, so do consider signing up for a speech, and do consider, if you have not yet, enrolling in Pathways. It's going to give you direction in your public speaking development. Go to the Toastmasters International website, look at the different paths available, and choose the one that is right for you so that you can get some momentum when it comes to your speeches that you're giving. You can get creative, you can develop yourself in that way, because that's why we're all here, to continue to develop ourselves, not just in the table topics and the evaluations, but also giving speeches. So I certainly encourage and advise anyone that has not yet enrolled in Pathways to go ahead and do so, sign up for a speech, and see yourself improve. As far as club business, the only other thing that was worth mentioning was the contests that are coming up. But other than that, thank you all for attending tonight, and we look forward to seeing you August 25th. Brian, did you have your hand up? Oh, no, okay, I thought you did. All right, and with that, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting and stop the recording.